Dean, maybe just your first comment on how it feels to be back in the summer, and you guys are preparing for another season, and it looks like we're going to have fans in the stands and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, we got that Delta variant going on, and I think the NCAA is
Yeah.
kind of holding off for a couple weeks
Yeah.
so they can get some protocols set in place. But everything's looking and feeling, really normal. I mean, it was awesome to have the kids, show up in July, and we're at the dorm actually, hugging the parents and shaking their hands and telling them welcome. And for just about every single one of us, first time we actually saw them. We had a whole recruiting class, and they got here on Thursday, July 1st, and checked in the dorm. And we actually, on Saturday, we had a recruiting visit for all of our guys that showed up at the dorm that were our new guys, because it's first, they'd either come to campus on their own, went through the admissions tour and we weren't allowed to see them, or they came to a game on their own and kind of got the atmosphere of a Murray State home football game, but we weren't allowed to have contact with them, so it was crazy. We had, a bunch of kids that we signed out of high school and some transfer kids that, really we hadn't seen. So we had an official visit on Saturday, for those guys. But it was way better than handing them a racer safety kit with hand sanitizer in it and a couple of masks and saying, we'll see you. Make sure you're, go over to the CFSB to get your COVID test. That was way better to be, shaking hands and welcoming them and in person and all that when they got here July the 1st. So, we had a couple days there. We had built in a buffer, physicals and sickle cell tests, all that stuff that we needed to get done, and we really weren't sure if there were going to be entry, tests and all that. So we got them here, and we started on the 5th with we get 10 hours, in the summer here with them. So we started on the 5th, and we're I wouldn't give us an A plus, I wouldn't give us an F. We're somewhere in the middle. I talked to the players. Really our first quarter was those 6 weeks that they were away. It was a quick turnaround with the season being in the spring, but those 6 weeks they were away, we talked about that being, the first quarter, and that's going to be on their own. Coach Clay gave them a workout that we needed them to do, and we found out, who did it, who didn't, on July the 5th. So, like I said, I'd give us maybe a C, but we talked, you can have a really bad first quarter and still win a game. You can have a okay first quarter, play kind of even and win a game, and you could jump out there in front and be great in the first quarter and still win a game. So, we still got second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter to prepare, and I think our guys are willing to work, and it's looked good so far.
I think you got a little gnat
Yeah, I
there
guess something
buzzing around your glasses.
Something jumping on me.
Okay, well, we can open it up for questions here. We do have the Hall of Famer Neil Bradley here in person today. So, Neil, I'll give you the first question, buddy.
I'll take the first one.
Yeah, there you go.
Are all the players here at this point, or will all of them be here later on?
All but the specialists. I've traditionally not had those guys come back in that summertime prior to the first practice, just because those guys usually have a kicking coach, a punting coach, a long snapping coach that they've kind of came up with, and usually they want to be, with those guys all summer training, ready to go. And then also those guys kind of traditionally work some kicking, punting, long snapping specialty camps, throughout the year. So we don't put them through the torture of July. They'll get here August the 4th. And then there's still a couple guys. We got a couple roster spots and a couple guys that we've, secured some transfers that, still will show up here a little bit later.
And my only other follow-up from an injury standpoint, from spring, are you in pretty good shape?
Yeah, we've we had a couple guys that had some injuries that, if it had been the fall, they'd be here, for the fall. And then we've got a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, but we've got several guys, right now, soft tissue. Most of them are new guys. That's usually what happens. You got a new guy that's not used to the training, or maybe didn't do the training prior to coming in, so you get some soft tissue stuff, some hamstrings and some quads and some of that stuff. But for the most part, our vets are pretty healthy, and for the most part, we're intact as far as everybody we had last year. From an injury standpoint, we'll be back.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Dean, in terms of the micro, obviously the end of the season last year was disappointing, but in the macro, you guys made such great leaps. you guys able to, as a program and maybe with the guys, look at the big picture and able to use that as momentum going into the summer rather than maybe the disappointment of how the last couple of weeks went?
Yeah, I think the big thing is just understanding, what you're trying to get accomplished, and for us, it's just day to day. Our guys being the best version of themselves. We talk to them all the time about power of the unit, and that's team time and truth. We want them to put the team above themselves. We want them to give 100% of their God-given ability every time they're on the football field. So be great effort guys, and then base their decisions on truth and not feelings. So that's what we focus on, is our guys, each individual unit, the DBs, the wide receivers, the linebackers, take ownership of the power of the unit, and making sure we're doing the best we can every single day, and whatever happens, and we can sleep at night after that.
You guys have seen you thrown into some preseason polls this year, and as we like to say, the burden of expectations can be heavy on some. How do you think your guys are going to respond to that? The expectations now, maybe not just internally, but externally as well.
Well, I mean, it's always different to climb the mountain than stay on top of the mountain, and it's always easier. I think, in preparation, when you're the underdog, as opposed to, you should win the game based on paper. But we actually just talked about that this morning. We talked about the 22, ranking, and our guys fully understand, I believe, that, there's not a team on our schedule we can't beat, and there's not a team on our schedule that can't beat us. So, really 22 means nothing. It doesn't mean that we're, going to defeat everybody that's, ranked below us, and doesn't mean we're going to lose to everybody ranked above us. So I think the guys have a good understanding of that's not really what matters. What matters is, what I talked about earlier is the power of the unit, and each guy trying to be the best that they can possibly be, and play free, and just whatever happens, happens.
How important, maybe has this summer been, just being able to have everybody back together and sort of a normalcy in the preseason and team building and bonding and all that? And does it feel, getting to do it again after not being able to do it last year, the importance maybe heightened to you guys?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's absolutely great. I mean, all the things that you would want to do to, pour into these guys and help them be, the best people that they can possibly be beyond just, football and academics. All the things you would normally do to bond a team, all that stuff was either you couldn't do it or was made very difficult, and you had to kind of be creative and find a new avenue. So it's been wonderful to be able to, on Mondays, we're doing our football stuff, our running, our lifting, we get the 2 hours of meetings, 2 hours of walkthrough. But to be able to have in-person speakers, talk to our guys, life skills type guys are going to help them in every area of their life. To be able to, on Wednesdays, we get out and we have just a family style, cookout, and the guys are playing kickball and cornhole and ultimate frisbee. So to get around each other and do some team building, team bonding type stuff is just, it just, we missed it, and really just a blessing that, our guys bought into what we were doing, and they meshed so well and fought so hard for each other without having that stuff. It's just amazing, what they accomplished last year.
Would you say you are best at holding your own in kickball or cornhole?
I don't mess with anything that I could pull a hammy. If I got the possibility of pulling a hammy, I don't do it. And I'm 57. I've yet to pull a hammy in cornhole. So cornhole is my game. Matter of fact, Rodney Castile and Alec Brown, they challenged me and my 15-year-old daughter in cornhole. And if you get a chance to interview either one of those guys, you can ask them what happened.
Last question, just about name, image, and likeness. Obviously, at this level, it's not going to be as prevalent and impactful as at the higher levels. But what conversations have you had with your guys, if any, about this? And how will this affect you guys moving forward?
Well, the best thing about name, image, likeness is Kevin Saul has really kind of taken that off of our plate. And, if anybody has something that's come up, he has them email him, and he's got a protocol and a process that he works through. And that's the smart thing to be out of a coach's hand, because we're not allowed to, promote or provide any of that for them. And so what we're really doing, and what Kevin's really doing, is a protection, standpoint, making sure they understand all the rules and giving them, good advice about things, just so that they can protect, themselves when they get in these endeavors. So that's really the gist of it from our standpoint.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Coach Hood?
Dave, I've got a couple of questions,
Yeah.
actually, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
Coach Hood, hey, it's Ed Marlowe with WKDZ. How are you today?
Good.
Excellent. First question for you. I was actually curious. Obviously, this is an amazing time where depth charts and summer camps start to really reshuffle across the nation. I know you've already announced your recruiting class and signing class for 2021, but do the Murray State Racers have a couple of tricks up their sleeve? Do you feel like there may be some transfers coming Murray State's way over the next few weeks heading into fall camp?
Yeah, like I said, we got a couple roster spots, left, because there's some kids we're still, talking to, and do have a couple of spots, and that will, I was cautious on saying anything about them because of all the compliance, type rules and issues. So I'll just leave it at that. We got a couple more guys we're still talking to that could come and help us.
Where do you feel like heading into fall camp your team is the deepest? Obviously, we've got OVC Media Day coming next week, and we know some of the guys that you've got returning, but where do you feel like are your deepest rooms right now on either side of the ball?
I think we're pretty balanced now. I think there was, we were very thin. We were very talented, with Day and Tez Brooks and Jacob Bell and Honeycutt. We were very talented at the wide receiver spot, but, man, we were really thin. I mean, we didn't have very many numbers, and we were very, very blessed. Fulton Hart did a great job with keeping those guys healthy. The kids did a good job with taking care of their bodies, and they did a good job with playing, being hurt. Those guys got banged up, man, and they were just warriors, playing. So that's one area that we were really thin. When you looked across the board, that was the scariest position, just purely numbers, depth, and we've got, when you look out there now, we look like a normal wide receiver group. Still got those talented guys, added some talented guys, but we've got the depth. I mean, we can go ahead and have a normal practice. There were times in practice where we're like, hey, we got to either cut out Skelly or we got to do a red zone Skelly. We got to quit running these guys. They're going to have anything left, when we get to the game.
Coach, my last question for you, where do you expect your biggest battles? I know you want fall camp to be a battle between all positions, but if you were looking at your depth chart coming into 2021 and how you guys closed out last season, and some of the younger guys getting more and more reps as the season went on, what positions do you expect to be maybe highly combative heading into fall camp in August?
I mean, I really think every position across the board has competition now, where we have added guys, to the roster. That's going to create competition, every single position. And our guys really crave that, and that's what you hope for, as a coach, because, the reality of it is, no matter what anybody's telling any one kid in recruiting, you every year, you recruit a kid and you want him to be the best player you got on your football team at that position. That's how you're going about recruiting. That's what you're doing. And then the next year, you're going to try to find somebody better than him. And it's up to the veteran guys to be developing at such a pace that can't happen. But that's what you're doing as a coach, is every year you're trying to find a more talented player than what you have at that position. And then the other thing you hope for is not only that those guys are developing on a pace that those guys can't catch them, even though they're more talented and they just got to wait for their time, but also that you've created an environment where the guys understand that, so that they push all the time, but they also accept it, and so that they do a good job with, you know, being open arms with new teammates coming in and you know, valuing them.
I actually just thought of one other question. Obviously,
Is that legal?
the end zone.
It's
oh,
Ed.
Yes, it is legal. Ed can ask another question.
It is legal?
Yes.
Okay. If they say 3 and they come up with
Yeah,
none? Okay.
yeah. Go
the
ahead.
end zone- sorry about that.
That's
The
okay.
end zones last year, obviously, you know, you've got the campsites now that are coming in place with RVs. The inside of Stewart Stadium, you know, with Tent City every year seems to be a lively atmosphere. But now with the RV situation that's starting to arise and these new plans to bring in, you know, families and students back onto the field, what do you think that's going to do to improve or not improve? I guess, what are your thoughts on where you think the atmosphere for the game is headed now that the end zones and now the RV camps are going to start taking over the infield at Roy Stewart Stadium?
Well, I mean, first thing, just appreciative of the creative thinking and everything that's going on with our administration to try to get, you know, more people to the games. And, you know, crowd it's an advantage. You know, there's no question. Nobody can deny it, you know, that when you're playing in an environment, you know, that's loud, that's hostile, that's, you know, whatever, feels like there's a lot of people, that puts pressure on visiting teams. So we're you know, very appreciative of the creativity and all the work the administration is doing, and then we're appreciative of the fact that we can gain a home field advantage, you know, with having a lot of people there. I mean, I'm excited about it.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks, Ed. I tell you what, we might just wrap it up here with Dean. I got just a couple of things on that note, Dean. Can you speak to the entertainment value of our brand of football, Murray State football? You know, right now you can get a season ticket for $60. And with all the stuff we've got going on with Family Weekend, Homecoming, Hall of Fame Day, Senior Day, Heroes and First Responders Day, we've always said we want to make it somewhere between a circus and a rodeo. And we actually have Racer One running around the track. So just speak to that a little bit of how does that kind of atmosphere help the team and the value of college football?
You know, I think people are, you know, starved for it with what happened, you know, last year. You know, you take something away from a human being, and then all of a sudden they really realize how much they really missed it, you know. And, you know, of course, I picked it for a profession. I can't think of anything more fun than, you know, a college football game. Now, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I don't get to really watch college football. When I watch it, I analyze it, and, you know, I don't get to sit in the stands and eat a hot dog and, you know, relax and yell at the coach, say he should have punted. But I can't think of anything more entertaining than, you know, a college football game, especially the atmosphere that we're creating, and then, you know, just the excitement, I think, of our guys. We got how many all-conference guys coming back? 13.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got 13 kids that made all-conference coming back, and then guys we added to that. And then, you know, for me, you know, I don't know if it comes across on the, you know, to the average viewer or not, but to me, I get excited about how our kids fight for each other. You know, it's just when something goes wrong on defense, man, the offensive guys aren't giving you that bad body language and throwing water bottles down and pointing the finger. They're saying, hey, don't worry about it. You know, I got it. We're going to pick you up here. And same thing, something goes wrong offensively, defensive guys, hey, we're going to get that ball right back for you. You know, we're going to win this game. You know, just the positiveness of our guys and how they fight for each other. I don't know if that, you know, translates and you can see that watching it, but that's exciting to me to know that that's how our guys' mentality is.
Yeah, I think you certainly see that, Dean. So thanks for taking a few moments to sit down with us. I just
Yeah.
thought this would be a great time to just kind of set the table for what's getting ready to happen. So
Yep.
we'll see you Monday on OVC Football Media Day.
Okay. All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Dave.
Dean.
Yep.
Appreciate it.